And we're so excited to see you here, and we're actually sold out. And thank you for putting up with the kind of social distancing, but this whole thing for us is to keep our community as safe as possible. And because we've been closed for a year and a half, and this is our first live show, so we're very excited. We couldn't do this without our community's support, the grants from the different foundations, and it's just been wonderful to keep going. So thank you for being here, and we're very excited about this play. About 6 months ago, we were thinking, well, maybe we can do live theater. We thought, well, maybe we could do a play with 2 people, because then that wouldn't involve a lot of actors. And Frosty brought this play in, and it's just a beautiful play. It will make you laugh and cry, and it will make you think, which we love here at WCPA. There is no intermission. Just be sure you've silenced your cell phones. And just like some quick thank yous, Dan and Amy Frostman are here, Max's parents from Vermont, and we're very grateful that they could come. They've helped in the past with some music scores, and grateful for that. Grateful to Robin and Tom Ulrich, who were our executive producers on this. To our wonderful tech team, Holly Wanger is she's our summer intern, which happened because of the pandemic, and we're so grateful. She did the lighting design for this with Scott Foster and props and many different aspects. And Lily, who's helping with sound, who's local too, and so very grateful for everyone's hard work on this. And Max just arrived last Sunday. We started live rehearsals. Before that, it was all on Zoom. So this is truly a pandemic performance that you're seeing. So just enjoy the performance. And again, we're so grateful that you're sharing this day with us. And thank you for being here and supporting us.
In die wonderste wonder, waar ik eens van op die zolder, in die levensstadie die de muur. Die levensstadie die de muur.
Spectacles! Spectacles! Where are my bloody eyes? Spectacular spectacles. A contraption devised to grant once more the gift of sight to the decrepit. Those of us whose faculties had been eroded by time, nerve endings ground down to little stumps. We who move slowly now, but do they help you see? The old and infirm have not lost their sight. They have merely turned their gaze inward. As a wise sage once said to me, young man, the final landscape is within. Good morning to you, old chap. Looking good, I see. Fit as ever. Ready for another boring sunny day in Southern California? It is the year 2014 and the world is going to the dogs. Polarized caps are melting. Young women are being abducted and raped for wanting an education. And presidents are upgrading their private residencies using taxpayers' money. No doubt about it, something is rotten in the state of Denmark. Shadows. Shadows. Shadows lines. Now where is that notebook? Oh. And he told her to mother, put salt on his shoulder, and leave us a scally lady, leave us a scally lady, and life is but a shadow on the wall. 1997, 1998. Bird sightings. Summer, South Africa. Forest weaver, lesser-collared sunbird, red-eyed dove, olive thrush, paradise flycatcher, gray-headed sparrow, sombre bulbul, laughing dove, streaky-headed sea eater, spectacled weaver, Cape wagtail, terrestrial bulbul, speckled mousebird, brown-hooded kingfisher, pearl-breasted swallow, boo-boo shrike, daycock, in English, the Cape thick knee. In Afrikaans, inelekap, which actually means thick head. The daycock is found in southern Africa. A solitary bird by nature, it nests in small scrapes in the hot, dry earth. These birds will perform melodramatic injury displays to lure any predators away from the nest. They are quiet during the day, but at night you can hear their mournful whistles over long distances. So, maybe that's what I am. A lesser green and gold crested dickhead. An old bird of the bald variety. Now, I'm spectacularly spectacled, too. I am a daycock. I'm a daycock! 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 13 August. Living through another death. Once again, I know that it is only through love that I will resurrect myself. I am truly dead and dark inside. I must open all my doors and windows and let in the light. It started with an epiphany this morning. A visit from a crested barbet with a fledgling. The adult bird fed the young one on pawpaw. Another appalling night, lurid and repulsive dreams. I'm a terrible mess inside. 1993. Doubt it. '28 November. When my mind is finally useless, I'll try just running and walking through the world and letting my body remember the wonderful life it has lived, as it did today when I ran through dappled sunlight, the scent of earth, and bird song. Running when your mind is finally useless. Good luck to you, young man. 2001. Too late. When did I make that entry? Oh, Boba. 1977. Maybe. Maybe. Rubbish. 1988. December. All of me is now finally back home in Port Elizabeth and in tune with the simple but powerful rhythms of this scrubby coastline. What makes me conscious of this is the way I can again appreciate, just sit and watch the big winds of this world, and once again they move me as deeply as they ever did. Rivers of wind, long and unending, they flow through the house, through my life, with the same spiritual potency that the great Ganges has for an Indian soul. And because it is high summer now and a powerful sun blazes out of an intense blue sky, the winds are full of light, rivers of light, with the trees splashing around in them. Sentimental bloody fool. 2012. No. May 2012, from a letter I sent off this morning. You loved my body the way Van Gogh loved those old boots, which so inspired me. In painting them, Van Gogh was loving them as symbols of all toiling, suffering, and finally dying humanity. What he really painted with that canvas was the soul of all mankind that an undeserving God claims as his, asserting his right to judge the value and virtue of that tired, sweat-stained leather. But, and it's a big but, my beloved, if Van Gogh himself needed a new pair of boots for all his tramping around, would he go out looking for a pair like the ones he painted? So I ask you, my beloved, isn't that the way you love my tired old body? But with all your years still ahead of you, is it what you need? A scribbled riddle. How do you know when something is finished and time to throw it away? Like all holy things, old shoes and boots will answer. Please, walk one more mile in me. Shadows. 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 A butterfly has just flown through a small cloud of my pipe smoke and did not cough. It has now settled on a grapevine. Determined to bring my pipe smoking under control. Seriously concerned about my physical weakness or old age and too much stress. The thick, creamy satisfaction of my Captain Peterson, filled with rum and maple tobacco. I am infused with dragon's courage. Though I am the only one that can see that now. On your mark. Get set. Go! 1983. Huh. Lucky dip. Ian, Tria, Eddie, and what do I see? 12 September. From the other side of the back door, an exquisitely mysterious little song, like clear water playing with pebbles. The two striped-breasted swallows have returned to their nest. What can I say? The agonies I have suffered in past seasons watching them trying to build that nest. They have never and never will get the entrance tunnel right because of the corrugations in the roof. And now there they are again. Another season of despair? I was thinking about this as I stood listening to the breathtakingly small secrecy of their rippling chatter, when in a flash I realized that no, It would not be another essay in hopelessness. As beautiful as it would have been to have a perfect nest up there, a happy ending, their return to the broken one is an even profounder metaphor of something that I must now meditate on and try to understand. In tueri lunquier. 24 December. A lot of emotional tension inside me tonight. The work that lies ahead at this desk. The desperate need for rain. The goodbye to this world at the end of February, and then New York. So much love, so much to love and look after. The last addiction in my life will be loving. The ecstasy of possession, the exquisite pain of loss, I know that I will have to give that up. The gross material aspect of it, even as I have had to give up drinking. If I live long enough, my inner self will demand it as surely as it demanded my present sobriety. So much to love and look after, or so much to possess. I have already given up a great deal. There is not a drop of alcohol in this room, not a shred of tobacco, but loving. Have I finally learned to love without wanting to possess? A pipe smoker never stops wanting his pipe. January 1984. Tonight I was surprised to discover with what eagerness I am waiting for a grandchild. Oh, hold on. Hold on. You are late again, you scallywag. I always knew I was looking forward to one, but never quite realized the extent of my impatience. I found myself positively squirming with anticipated pleasure as I thought about the things I would like to do with him or her. I think there is a good chance of me being the most doting grandfather any child ever had. It is the sharing of life that I want to get into. 1984. (1981). What do we have here? A final few moments each night when I put off the last light in the lounge and pace the room in the dark, myself and the books on the shelves having lost the power of speech. Just about every night now I dream about birds. Beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel. One of these days, I'll have a shadow again. Oh, shadows, shadows, shadows. Oh. (1963). Oh. See, this has got to be it. December 1963. Yes, this is it. The end of the year. Nothing could mean less to me. I will lie in bed tonight and watch the shadow of a tree on our stoop through the open doors. The curtains will breathe gently with a soft wind, and the shadow itself will move, clotting into blackness on the cool stone, or breaking apart into agitated contours of leaves. And as on so many nights now, I will fall asleep in the unimportant labyrinth of a dialogue that I follow through as if learned by rote. First, my mind consciously analyzes the phenomena of a shadow and assures me that a shadow is nothing. Then with my eyes, with all the senses in my living mortal body, I look at it, and savor the beauty of its being, and yet it is nothing. My mind has told me so and proved it. And then my wonder increases, encompassing now not only the beauty of the shadow, but the duplicity, the paradox that runs so richly through all this life. And then, me, my dark shape, my very own unique little patch of darkness. Come, don't be shy. In Afrikaans, you are my escaliva. In Spanish, mi sombra. In French, meu umba. In German, mein Schatten. Oh, my ever faithful companion, my shadow. Shadows. The word can, of course, also be used figuratively to suggest an atmosphere of ominous oppressiveness, or also sadness and gloom. As, for example, a shadow of gloom and mourning fell over the nations with the news of his death. The usage I prefer to dwell on today, however, is when it refers to an inferior remnant or version of something, such as this once fine figure of a man has become a shadow of his former self. Boba!
Opa! Opa! Opa? What are you doing?
What's the matter with you, Boba? Are you blind? I have transmogrified.
Into what?
The teacher from the Black Lagoon. And I am hungry for your tender young flesh. So, defend yourself.
Oh, so that's what it is today. Don't you ever get tired of playing monsters? We used to do it for my sake.
For God's sake, Boba, you taught me how to play it in the first place. So, unsheath the sword of your imagination, boy, because here I come.
Okay.
It's
Not yet. I'm not finished.
finish me off. You come now. You know the routine.
Die, worm-faced creature of night.
Oh, merciful heaven! Why did that take you so long? I thought it was never going to end. Was your sword blunt?
Your skin was very thick, Opa.
Oh, that, my lord, was a deadlier thrust than any your Excalibur inflicted. But pray tell me, at whose hand did I have the honor, the agony, the ecstasy of dying this time?
Prince Grufford of Dayberth.
Aye, and a nobler lord never defended the sacred soil of Wales. But come now, my master, let us now put aside our weapons and turn our minds toward more mundane matters. How are things at home?
Same as usual, but this time Dad is really angry.
So you are in the dog box again. What did it this time?
I failed some other maths.
Oh! As you well know, my cherished one, I hate to say anything in support of your father. But he might be justified this time. And now to top it all, they of course do not know where you are.
No.
So where are you supposed to be?
At Norrell's house doing homework.
Oh my God. What are we going to do?
About what, Opa?
Me and you! Sooner or later, they're going to find out that you are secretly visiting me again, and then you'll be in even hotter hot water with your dad.
Opa, have you been smoking again? You promised.
No, I have not. I was just playing with it. For old time's sake. Come, give me back my pipe.
I was just asking. Where are the cookies?
Under the Bible.
Nothing yet today?
No. Nothing happens to me anymore, you know that.
I like this one. Another South African dream. I was on my way home, walking up a steep hill when a crowd from the township suddenly appeared at my back, led by a mutilated woman dragging herself behind me. She was begging for food and clawing at my back with twisted brown hands. Then she started cursing me. Jou muir.
Afrikaans. Ya muha! Ya muha!
No matter how fast I walked, I just couldn't get away from her. So I began to run. Suddenly, there were 2 mangoes in my hands. I threw them at her, partly as an offer of food, but also as a way to defend myself. I wanted to hurt her. The mangoes hit their target with a dull thud. Mangoes as weapons, Opa?
That's enough now, Bobo.
Is Africa a scary place, Opa? Every time you talk about it, you sound like you'd rather be there.
Yes, it is. But it is also a fiercely beautiful place. And that is exactly the problem. Anyway, this is an old man's head, and those are an old man's nightmares. Put the book aside and come here. I want to talk to you. Listen to me, Boba. I meant what I said. What are we going to do? If your dad finds out you are visiting me on the sly, it will be the end of our afternoons together, you know?
Well, it's not up to me, Opa. If you just say we're sorry and that you won't call him a stupid ox again, you'll allow me.
No. I will drop the ox, but not the qualifying adjective. Because that's what he is. And I know your mother secretly agrees with me. I know he is my son, but believe me, Boba, that as God's dirty tricks go, giving him to me as my one and only heir is by far the dirtiest trick he has ever played on me. when he first married your mother and she became pregnant, I lived in mortal terror of the possibility that another idiot was on the way. All I can say is thank God for your mother. She must have provided the genes that are responsible for you. Oh, and just for the record, he is the one that should apologize to me for his impertinence in trying to tell me that I was, that I am a, what did he say I was?
An arrogant and conceited old idiot.
Don't say it with such relish. Arrogant and conceited. Me? All because I reminded him that anyone claiming to be well-educated would know that it was the Sumerians in 3000 BC who launched literacy on the world. But that was all a smokescreen to hide the real issue. The struggle for your beautiful young mind. Conformity or rebellion? Yes, Bubba, what was the first lesson I taught you?
The one you made me write out 10 times?
Yes.
If I don't understand something, ask a question.
Yes. That's all that a wise old Greek called Socrates tried to teach his young friends. But the result, the charge of corrupting the youth, the verdict guilty, the penalty, a cup of hemlock and poison. They made him drink it.
Opa! Opa! Look, there it is! Come on.
Is the feeder full?
Yeah, I filled it last time.
You'll be back. What now?
You know, Opa, if we just keep the curtains open, you can sit and watch the real bird and not just its shadow.
God's sake, Bola. So that's your opinion of me? An idiot like your father?
Well, don't you want to see the real bird?
Boba, I have spent enough time watching real hummingbirds, in this case it's called Anna's hummingbird, to last me for the rest of my life, but that's not the point. It is the shadow that fascinates me, the central image in Plato's Republic. Only in his case, of course, it is not an untidy little room where an old man is living through the last years of what has become a monumentally boring life, but a cave. A cave in which all the people sit chained, watching shadows on the wall. Here's how Plato describes it.
Hold on, Opa. Who's Plato?
Huh. Who is Plato? A very important Greek philosopher who lived thousands of years ago. Now listen, I got the passage marked. Imagine men who live in an underground cave which emerges into the outer light that seeps into the cave's depths. From childhood, these men have their legs and necks chained in such a way they are forced to remain in one spot and can only see what is in front of them. Behind them, higher up and a slight distance away, imagine a fire burning. Between the prisoners and the fire is a road with a low wall running beside it like a screen over which puppeteers perform their shows. Are you following me?
Not really. Sorry, Opa.
You are forgiven. I'll try again. And slowly. Listen carefully. Come. Sit. there are countless number of people like you sitting, staring at this wall. You have been chained to your seat, so you can only stare at what is in front of you. What you cannot see is that behind you there is a big blazing fire. What you cannot see is that behind you there is a big blazing fire that casts light on the wall. Now, and imagine one day a little hummingbird flies into the cave and starts flitting around behind your back between you and the fire. What will you see on the wall? I don't know, stop too fast. I can already see stupidity setting in. Take your time, think. You, the hummingbird, the fire. What will you see on the wall?
The shadow of the hummingbird.
Precisely. There is still hope for you, my boy. But let us proceed. What you have to remember now is that because these people are in chains, they have spent their whole lives watching shadows on the wall. What does that mean?
I don't know, but...
Yes, you do. But you have forgotten that you know. I remember very clearly a moment in your infancy. You weren't even a toddler yet. Your mother and I were having a cup of afternoon tea, and she had put you down on the floor so that you could crawl around. I remember the moment because it is when you gave me my first lesson in Plato's theory of forms. You see, I noticed that instead of crawling around, you were getting very frustrated because you could not pick up a little shadow you found on the floor. It was a shadow of a lovely red rose I had given your mother. It was in a vase on the windowsill. And I know you cannot remember the moment, but the question is, why on earth did you want to pick up that little shadow you found on the floor? Okay, go ahead, be brave, say it.
Because I wanted to play with it?
Exactly. Yeah. You thought it was a real thing, that you could bite and smell and taste the way babies do with things, not so?
Yeah.
And those people sitting there in the cave who have never been able to leave it because they are chained to their places. What do they think about that shadow flitting around on the wall?
They also think it's real.
Well done. Oh, now comes the exciting part. Are you ready for it?
Yeah?
Imagine one of them somehow manages to free himself from his chains.
How, Opa?
Anyhow, you black, for heaven's sakes, the point is he's free. So now what does he do? Come on, what would you do?
I'd get out of the cave as fast as I could.
Right! You turn around and make a dash for it. But then what happens?
I've escaped. I'm free.
Not so fast. Remember, you have been living in darkness your whole life.
So?
Oh, what do you mean so? Think, boy, think. What happens to you when you step from a dark room into bright light?
I can't see very well. I have to blink a little.
Exactly. You stumble for a bit, and gradually your eyes get used to the light. And then one day, you happen to look up, and what do you really see for the very first time flying around in all its shimmering glory?
The real hummingbird.
Yes, exactly. Bravo. Well done, Boa. Well done.
Go on.
What do you mean go on? There is no going on. I mean, that's it.
That's all?
Your response to Plato's allegory is a dismissive, that's all?
Sorry, Opa. It's not that I don't understand it. Mr. Plato's story isn't a very good one, is it?
So what the hell did you expect? Must he get his gun, shoot the bloody bird, and then eat it?
Screw you.
I give up.
You want to help me with my English homework?
I'm not a teacher anymore, Boba. Go ask the idiot who's teaching you now.
It's a story that I'm writing. It's about a dragon. The predicament of Percy the dragon. Once upon a time, but not so long ago, lived Percy the orange dragon. Poor Percy had a predicament because he was born with 3 sets of wings instead of 1. The first set of wings was in its usual place, but through some accident they had grown out back to front. So Percy flew backwards when he used these wings instead of forwards. The other sets of wings were on either side of Percy's body, but when he used the side on the left, he could only fly to the right. When he used the side on the right, he could only fly to the left. And just when he thought matters couldn't get any worse, Percy could only use each set of wings when he was feeling a particular emotion. I said I was sorry. Would you like me to go? I'll go now.
No. Wait. Come back. Keep reading.
Percy could only use each set of wings when he was feeling a particular emotion. So, when he was sad, he could only use the first set and would fly backwards. When he was angry, he could only fly to the right, and when he was scared, he could only fly to the left. Sadly, because Percy was a very lonely dragon, he spent most of his time flying backwards. That's it, Opa. I haven't gotten any further than that.
How does it end?
Percy finds a way to fly forwards.
Oh, and how does he do that?
When Percy is happy, all his wings work together.
Oh, you do not need my help. It is a good story. Boa, is that story about you?
What do you mean, Opa?
Oh, what I mean is, are you happy?
Yes, I think so. But I do wish you'd get along with Dad as well, and not just with Mom.
I hear you. Happy, and then fly forwards.
Opa, are you still upset with me?
No, Boba. And listen, it's my turn now to say I am sorry.
You didn't do anything wrong, except
Except what?
get a little bit angry with me.
A little bit angry? I do not get just a little bit angry when I encounter stupidity. It outrages me, for God's sake. Mr. Plato's Republic, not a very good story.
Well, do you think it is?
No. I admit that as stories go, it is bloody silly. But in any case, it is not a story like the ones I used to tell you when you were small. It's an allegory, a metaphor. You've got something of that in your story about Percy, haven't you? It's about learning how to make yourself happy. It's not just about a dragon.
I guess. But it is mainly just about a dragon.
All right, fair enough. But you mustn't take Plato's allegory at face value. It's got a hidden meaning. And in this case, it's about the nature of what we call the real world. In any case, what I shared with you was just a nutshell version of it. If you'd really like to know what it means, you can take this book and read it at home. I don't need it anymore.
No thanks, Opa.
It does, however, deserve a measure of respect. This only happens to be one of the cornerstones of Western philosophy. Or so the wise philosophers tell me. Not that that helps me very much. No, Bubba, when it comes to that little shadow on the floor, I realize now there was another lesson, a more important one, that I could have learned from you as I watched you at your mother's feet trying to pick up that scrap of shadow, trying so hard to hold it and play with it.
I did not know yet that shadows aren't real, Opa.
Oh, Bubba, it has already happened to you. But of course, shadows are not real. We all know that, not so.
That is what Mr. Plato said, isn't it?
Oh yes, that is what he said. That is what we all say. Shadows are not real. Mr. Plato would have seen in you, that little baby crawling around on the floor, an illustration of ignorance, because you did not yet know what is real and what is not real. But you see, there was another man, 2,000 years later, who did not think like that. He would have looked at you in a different way to Mr. Plato. He would not have seen you as just a silly little child who did not yet know better. He would have seen you as someone who knew maybe something that Mr. Plato and you and I had forgotten as we got older and wiser. That man believed that you could see the world in a grain of sand, and heaven in a wildflower. That you could hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an
Who was he, Opa?
The poet, William Blake.
Infinity in the palm of my hand. I don't understand.
Of course you don't. And neither did I. Because you are losing, and I already have, the innocence that we are all born with. Yes, believe it or not, but this grumpy old pisspot was also once a little baby crawling around the floor trying to pick up shadows and eat them. I sit here, Boba, waiting for the shadow of that hummingbird because I want to do that again, but this time I'm going to catch it and hold it in my hand.
But, Opa,
What?
you can't.
No?
You think you can?
Yes. Maybe there's still more than just a little bit of innocence left in you. Tell me, Boba. Can you remember when you first held an orange in your little hands? Or an egg? When you first saw the moon? Or a bird fly? When you first saw your very own shadow? Can you remember any of those momentous moments in your life? It's a real question, Boba.
No. I don't think I can.
Neither can I. But wouldn't you want to?
Yeah?
Me too. Oh. I would give all the time I have left for just one day of that innocence. One day of seeing the world the way I did when I first opened my eyes. You see, Boba, I wasted my chances. I allowed the mystery and splendor of the world to slip away through my fingers because I took it all for granted. So here I am now asking myself, is it too late now for anything other than a dream? That same man, William Blake, who saw the world in a grain of sand and held infinity in the palm of his hand, also said, "He who mocks the infant's faith shall be mocked in age and death. He who shall teach the child to doubt, the rotting grave shall ne'er get out." Instead of going down on my hands and knees and helping to try to pick up that little shadow on the floor, I smiled at your innocent folly and looked forward to the time when you would be big enough to understand that shadows are not real things, that a grain of sand is just a grain of sand, and that a wildflower has a lovely long Latin name, and that is the end of it. And that goes for our hummingbird as well. When I first learned its so-called real name, its Latin name, I believed I knew something very important about it. Family Trochilidae, genus Colet, species Anna. Oh, that is so much more impressive, don't you think, than just calling it that precious little jewel of the garden? Oh, Boba, it is so sad. Year by year, my world became general. It lost its wonderful specificity. Mark you, there were, of course, still moments when I broke through that crust of pseudo-knowledge and saw things with the eyes of that little toddler chasing his piece of shadow.
Was that the first time you saw a hummingbird, Opa?
Oh, no, that was long before I came to this country and saw my first hummingbird.
Aren't there no hummingbirds in Africa?
No, we have what are called sunbirds. They cannot fly backwards like hummingbirds, but they are just as beautiful. And they also have long beaks and sip nectar from the flowers. One of their favorite flowers is that of the aloe plant. In my home back there in South Africa, I had a thick hedge of them growing by the side of the house. And every spring, that thorny, impenetrable hedge would push up a forest of miniature red blooms, and my God, it was beautiful, Boba. Oh, and there was one morning, one wonderful spring morning I'll never forget. 5 sunbirds all flying in that forest of flowers. I counted them, male and female malachite and 3 double-collared sunbirds. In all their colors, green, ruby red, and yellow, and sparkling in the sunlight as they hop from flower to flower, dipping their beaks in. And standing there, admiring them, ravished by the perfection of that moment, was me. A young man with vigor and strength in his body, and we were all part of it. was not about a specimen of Homo sapiens admiring specimen Nectarina famosa and Nectarina chalabe, pollinating aloe arborescens. No. It was about me. Me and 5 of God's jewels celebrating all the created world with me whispering, hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh, yes, Boba, I whispered it because I did not want to break the spell of that moment. Oh, that young man had somehow managed to hang on to something of the innocence he had as a small child. But with time, look at me now. There is no mystery or magic in the world I live in now, the so-called real world. And I have had enough of it. I don't know how much time I have left, Boba, but whatever there is, I want just once more to catch shadows and taste them. There's a nice Latin name for that as well. Senile dementia. That's what they'll call it. And then your dad will lock me away somewhere safe. You just wait and see.
What? No! I won't let him. I won't.
Oh, but it does not matter. I won't care. Oh, I am sick of my rational existence in this world. I want to live in, once again, in one full of mystery and magic and shadows I can play with.
What will happen to me then?
You'll be all right. By then, you'll be a different woman. You'll see.
By when? When are you going to catch the shadow?
When I can believe it is real. Yes, this is not a game of make-believe, Boba. I've got to really believe that strange little intruder flying around in that curtain every morning is as real as this old arthritic hand. Only then will I be able to reach out and catch it.
Oh, but you won't.
But I won't know that, Boba. Don't you understand? I won't know all your sensible reasons for knowing that I would be wasting my time. Look, you can join all the others in saying, oh, poor old Opa, look, he's oh, what's the phrase, Bobby? He's lost it, he's lost the plot, he's lost his marbles, but I won't give a damn! I'll be too busy catching shadows! Water! Oh, water, please. I'm all right. Don't worry, Boba. Opa's all right. Now, where were we?
When you do try to catch the shadow, can I help you?
Oh, but of course! I will welcome any help I can get. Oh, but remember, when we do catch it, it will be mine.
Okay. But what will happen to it when you die?
Oh, good question. I will give it to you in my will.
You will?
I will in my will. In fact, I will do it right now. to whom it may concern, being of sound mind and decrepit body, I hereby bequeath all of my shadows to my grandson, Boba the First.
Thank you, Opa. I'll keep this in a very safe place. I have to go now. Will you be all right?
Oh, yes, but when will I see you again?
I'll come tomorrow morning.
Promise?
I promise, but I won't be able to stay as long as today.
I understand, but please do come, even if it's just to say hello and goodbye.
Please don't catch the shadow today, Opa. Wait time with you.
I promise.
Bye, Opa.
Bye. Boba! Boba!
Yes, Opa?
Tomorrow.
Yes, Opa. I promise.
Be careful when you cross the road. June 11, 2014. Today I again As he fell asleep, he had still been thinking of the subject that now always occupied his mind, about life and death, and chiefly about death. He felt himself nearer to it. Love? What is love? He thought. Love hinders death. Love is life. Oh, everything that I understand only because I love. Everything is, everything exists only because I love. All. Everything I understand only because I love. 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 Everything. Today, I again thought about love and ended up with Tolstoy. Oh! Aha!
predicament of Percy the Dragon. The predicament. Opa, Opa, wake up, I finished my story. Opa? Opa, Opa, stop it! Stop playing with me! Opa! Opa! Opa!
in die vrolijkste woorden. Je voeten en